I can point out my mistakes that I've made. So you know, that's how I usually go by, correcting myself or bettering myself for a project. So I won't, make any careless mistakes, and things can be done in decent and order.
Okay. Give me an example of a time where you had a challenge that you had to overcome.
Actually, I had a challenge not last week actually, where I was doing some testing in the lab with microorganisms, and I needed the autoclave, and autoclave was down. So I'm glad I knew somebody so that I could go and I knew somebody, I networked with somebody, along down the line, so I could go over to their lab and use theirs, and I got the job done on time. I met the needs of what my boss had asked me to do.
Okay. One of the requirements on this position is 1 to 3 years experience in a food manufacturing or lab environment. How do you think you fit that?
Well, with my research it focuses on it's not in a laboratory setting where I am testing the efficacy of natural antimicrobials against salmonella in apple juice and apple cider at 4 degrees Celsius to 23 degrees Celsius, which is room temperature and refrigeration temperature. And I've been working on that for almost a year and a half now. And by the time I'm done with that, I think that I should be able to meet you all's requirements on a laboratory setting that I have been involved in.
Now, you mentioned HACCP certification. Are you an SQF practitioner?
No, sir.
Would you be willing to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Computer skills. How strong are you with computers?
I'm pretty good with computers. Very knowledgeable with Microsoft Office.
Okay.
So, I've done many PowerPoints. I work with Excel a lot, dealing with different types of dealing with stats, such as t-testing, things like that. So I'm pretty good.
Okay. Can you give an example of where you were a leader and maybe had somebody that disagreed with your leadership?
Throughout my college career, I've been a part of several different organizations. I was a part of a baseball team where I was served as a captain and co-captain for 2 years, my junior and my senior year. And I'm sorry, what's the second part of the question again?
And then when you served as that leader, if there was somebody that disagreed with your leadership or your leadership style, how did you handle that?
Depending on the person, if it was someone that was over me, then I would pretty much just do it the way they wanted to be done, since they were the boss. But if it was like one of my peers, we would come to agree to disagree on some things.
Well, let me ask you, what questions do you have of me today?
What is it like on a regular basis for your company?
Well, seeing as how we are more so in the Northwest, it's one of those to where it's usually cold. You gotta go through, you gotta travel from location to location, but a lot of times we go through and we're based out of the Northwest, and so we stay there. We do have the new acquire here in Idaho that we're going through and we're trying to fill positions for, but it's a local company. We still have that local feel. We're privately owned. My mom and dad started the company, and so it's one of those to where that's where our focus is. It's still, family based. So, it's one of those of, if we see that there's a need within our family, we see that there's a need within our company, we take care of it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming in today. That's the last one we have today.
Come on, Ken, before we go home.
So that'd be
Mr. Walls. Josh Harrington, have a good day this year. Good trip out here to California?
Oh, yes. California is always a good place to come to.
Oh, yeah, you been here before?
Yes, sir. I recently visited, well, not recently, but I'd probably say maybe 5 months ago, came to Long Beach, California. I noticed that is 2.5 hours away from Ranchero, California. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to apply for here. I have family that's out in California. So.
Oh, okay. Out in Long Beach?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, good deal, good deal. So, yeah, you know, I mean, hey, going through with Renaissance Food, we go through and we do a lot of fruits and vegetables. I'm sure that being out, you know, coming out and visiting California, fly drive,
Oh, fly.
fly. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you had driven, you would have seen a myriad of fruits and vegetables, you know, as you came into town. So tell me, what's your background as far as being a coordinator, project manager?
Okay, I'm right now currently a part-time soup at my job for a retail company. So I'm working dealing with a lot of employees, managing their time, making sure that they're in their current shifts for the current hours. I also lead projects sometimes within a certain department. I'm up under my department manager, so pretty much just lead the employees and also do paperwork and computer work in the back.
Okay, so what kind of paperwork and computer work?
We have a system where, we just had a new system with our company, where we have to manage timesheets on the computer. As far as employees' timesheets, we manage the banking aspect of the store from the back of house, from the computer area. We look at if our current goals are made for the day, as far as sales, stuff like that.
Okay. So are you familiar with OneSync?
I'm not too familiar with OneSync. Our company doesn't use the type of program. I've read a little bit about it, that was UPC codes, and it doesn't seem like it's too hard of a computer knowledge to grasp, considering how we have a different system than most other retail companies.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be able to grasp OneSync very, very easily.
Okay, well, good deal. Product specifications. One of the essential duties, in fact, the first one listed on here, is to create and revise all production specifications. What do you know as far as product development and operation teams?
Well, we very familiar with product development. For undergrad, we was in a product development class, and also the master's level, we did a product development class. Work with typically 5 to 4 people in a group. We each are assigned a specific role. Just have to, we're all under one head leader. So we work in our specific roles under the head leader to meet a certain deadline.
Okay, that's great, that's great. So time management skills?
Time management skills are very important. I have a lot of time management skills, being that I'm part-time soup and doing certain moves within the department. You have to meet them within a certain deadline for the week. So I have a lot of time management experience, and also working with the product development. You have to meet certain deadlines. Everybody has to meet certain deadlines working on the same product. So you have to meet certain deadlines up under the head leader.
Okay, well, good deal, good deal. Well, you've mentioned a head leader several times. Can you give me an example where you were a leader?
Well, once again, not only being a part-time soup, being a head leader for employees of the current shift. I'm in several organizations from school. I've also been a secretary in two of those organizations. So I have a little bit of leadership roles as far as being in organizations and being at work.
I didn't see any dates on those organizations. How long of a time frame are we talking there?
The organizations, well, usually you take a role within the office for like a year. So you be in the organizations, you hold a leadership role for a year, then they re-elect.
I'm sure you went through and you said, as far as software, y'all go through and use that for your UPC and product flow. So what other types of software or software suites do you know?
Well, we have to be big on Excel, because you have to type it in. We're typing in your work times and other people's work times. We use a lot of Excel more than anything. but I also have a background with not only Excel, but Words, PowerPoint as well.
All right, so what questions do you have for me today?
How often do you guys promote internally to move up? I noticed that was a entry-level management position, so I'm looking maybe to work for district maybe.
Okay. It is one of those where we like hiring within. That's our preference, but we always know that, you know, hey, especially for entry levels, we've got to start somewhere. So we go through and we look for entry levels outside the company. We have no problem with hiring family members. As long as we go through and we can keep those outside of the area that you might be going through and managing or such, you know, we're fine with keeping it within the family, because again, we're family-owned business. We go through and we try and keep it so that everybody is working with everybody, everybody is friendly. That's one of our big pushes. So we do go through and hire from within. We go through and hire up. We continually are going through and looking to move people up, because we know that, hey, if you're satisfied with your job, you're going to make a better product. So we don't have a problem with that.
Okay. I have another question. As far as this Long Beach and that little area, what else do other main attractions are close to Ranchero?
Well, you know, I mean, we've always got the state fair that comes through. You know, they like coming through here because of the animal handling facility out here on the state fork. But it's one of those of, you know, there's not a lot as far as, we've also got the industrial complex downtown. But, you know, as far as, hey, we want to go and live at Ranchero, you know, it's not a big area, not a big push. So, yeah, we like being more agriculturally minded out here.
Okay. That's all for my questions.
Okay.
So thank you for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to have you. Questions, comments, concerns, what'd you notice? Feel free to critique me or your peers.
Are you gonna have somebody else come in and interview us as well?
Well, that was the desire for today, but that didn't pan out. Could not go through and get their schedule to work with this schedule. So, yeah.
I noticed we had people weren't as nervous this time.
Okay. You think people weren't as nervous?
No, we did way better than this time than we did last time.
Hey.
Could have done better.
How do you feel like you answered the questions?